of the Tea Party Sentinels of Laguna Woods and Liberty Matters. Not necessarily in that order. If we could all stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
I have to laugh. I won't say anything. But I got mixed up.
Each month, we'll alternate in which club will start the meeting. We'll start it, Tea Party will start it now. Just want to say one or two things. As we are two separate clubs, we have somewhat different convictions. But the policies we have in common is to stop the socialist takeover and their policies that are destroying the freedom and liberty of our country. The Tea Party Sentinels is a political group. Liberty Matters is both political and Christian, and they have the freedom to express their political and religious beliefs in their meeting, and they'll do so now that they're in our meeting. America's strength is in the ideals that unite us. Both our organizations believe in religious freedom. Jewish or Buddhist in the audience are here because they have experienced the socialist and the communist threat. There is no stronger anti-communist than those who have lived in China. Even our invited speakers who do the presentations have said have different viewpoints than some of us in the audience. But let us be clear, whatever faith the clubs or their members have, we are facing forces, we are joining forces to fight against the same destructive groups. Our group, the Tea Party Sentinels of Laguna Woods, support a constitutional republic based on the rule of law. We advocate limited government, limited spending, and limited taxation, all of which we don't have now.
Too late.
I have the pleasure to introduce the president of Liberty Matters, Catherine Robbins, who will introduce their club, say a prayer as they usually do in their group, in their meeting, and introduce the speaker. And by the way, a basket will be passed around for donations for the cost of the clubhouse, refreshments, and our flyers. Minimum of $2 or $3 would be nice. And Erwin will be passing around the basket. Catherine?
Thank you. It's our church. There went my fork. Sweetie pie.
Yeah.
My fork.
Hi, I'm Catherine Robbins from Liberty Matters. I'm proud of it. Liberty Matters was formed a year and a half ago when we were shut down and had no freedoms and had to stay by ourselves. And primarily, we were a group of people that were not vaccinated, so we were discriminated against completely everywhere in Laguna Woods and elsewhere. So we were home alone. A lot of us were complaining about it to each other on text, and so I finally, a year and a half ago, said, the heck with what they say about we can't socialize, come over. We had 6 people, and from 6 people, we have about 175 at this point. People just telling people, we don't advertise or anything. I never realized how many people were feeling the same way I did. I felt like it was my arm, my choice. My freedoms were being taken away, but I felt alone. And so now I don't feel alone anymore, and neither do they. There's a lot of us out there that we need to let them know they're not alone. So if you want to spread the news about our club, feel free. So again, I'm Catherine Robbins. I'm the facilitator. Joe was the facilitator before I was. Joe is going to be our speaker tonight, and are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I just want to say a real quick sentence prayer. Whatever your religion is, whatever your philosophy is, I know we have the same values, conservative values, and we care about this country. So if we can work together, no matter what the few differences are, we have more similarities. So I want to say right now to God in heaven, or whoever you pray for or pray to, help us have wisdom to know what to say to people. Help us have wisdom to know how to be in the world. And thank you that we live in the United States and we've had all this freedom that we've had for this long. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Joe, this is Joe Camera. You ready? All right. Let's hear it for Joe.
Hey everyone, a lot of familiar faces. Thanks for coming out on a February cold, wet night, and appreciate it. We're going to spend like maybe 45 minutes about high-level stuff, about global type activities. I know liberty matters to people, of course, but your health matters, your family matters, Laguna Woods matters. We all have other priorities and things we're doing. But this is an opportunity to kind of, if you can put that aside for a while and think about some big picture stuff of what's happening in the world. I think there's some content that hopefully will stimulate your mind, make you think about some stuff that you might not have looked at the same way before, and then take it with you as we leave tonight and maybe make a difference, because every voice matters too. You know, it's easy to feel like, well, what I do doesn't matter, but we'll mention like when Liberty Matters started in the truckers convoy, we'll think about 1 year ago how different the world was than it is today. So with that, let's get started. Can everybody see that okay? We'll do some introductory thoughts. And if the theme of the presentation is 3 steps to restoring liberty, kind of an aggressive goal, and might be harder than it sounds, but I think it's significant. But if you're going to solve something, you have to know what the problem is. So I'll have some introductory thoughts and then discuss what's the problem that we're dealing with. And a lot of times, just like your health or something else, there's symptoms to the problem, and then there's the root cause. So we'll try and address the root cause analysis of this, and then we could see if it's a logical solution that'll actually remedy the problem potential, and then have some concluding thoughts, and then we have a couple speakers, if there's dialogue, very interested in other people's perspective.
Could we have a little bit of light? I was going to take notes.
Sure. Bob's the light engineer tonight, so how's that? Can you see all right? And I think that you can see the screen pretty well. Let me hit this, and I'll try and keep the mic even, but let me see if we're, that looks pretty sharp, I guess. Okay, so I'll go again, like maybe about 45 minutes, or although if I see 3 or 4 people sleeping, I'll speed it up and we'll call it a night. Introduction, this is going to be focused on the United States. This is a beautiful country. Our founding fathers were really forward thinkers. The Declaration of Independence defined an unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Beautiful ideals that we don't hear often enough. And they identified that the purpose of government is to preserve those rights. Does that sound like the government that we're living under today?
No.
We have powerful people saying, do what we say, and if you ask a question about it, you're a terrorist, you're a domestic terrorist, and need to be controlled and re-educated. We're talking about communism and total tyranny and dictatorship. We've got a lot of symptoms that are very concerning to a lot of people right now. So, and it's a global problem. It's not just the United States. So we'll kind of balance that. But again, this is focused on America and what we can do as a country to take our liberty back. So the goals, number one, and again, we all have different backgrounds, but understanding that liberty is under attack right now. The censorship, the restriction of movement, your health decisions, what you get injected with or not get injected with. These are significant things that we need to understand that. And then, like I mentioned, what's the root cause of this? Why is all this craziness happening? And then we'll talk about a proposed solution, at least a few steps to get it back on track.
I didn't get it on your one.
This again, if you came last year or sometimes, I like to use this because it's easy to think people are crazy if they don't see the world the way you see it, but we all have a different perspective, literally, on different subjects. This is the example of a cylinder. If you only see it from the round end, you would think that's a circle right there. If you look at it from the side, you think it's a rectangle, and neither of those are correct. It's actually a cylinder. So it's easy for us, if you don't have enough information especially, which is a challenge right now, to have very different points of view. In fact, I'm currently the president of the Astronomy Club. If you think about Galileo, when he told people, hey, the Earth goes around the sun, everybody on the planet every day saw the sun come up, go over the Earth, and go around, and then go down on the other side. They had direct evidence. They can see, obviously, the sun goes around the Earth. Who's this crazy guy saying that we're going around the sun? Like, it makes no logical sense, and based on the data that the average person had, they're not going to change their point of view. They're going to hold on to that, and it took hundreds of years for that to become the common knowledge. So that's the kind of thing that, a dynamic of what we're dealing with. And then this is a typical slide with the x-axis and the y-axis. You have on the right total liberty, on the left total tyranny, at the top a happy, content life where your homeostasis of your feeling of your interaction with the world is peaceful and strengthening and loving. And then at the bottom you have fear and terror where you're in panic about the forces around you and scared. And there's forces in our lives every day, and we move around. This is a scatter chart, basically, and there's some people live in one life, there's a lot live in another life, and there's forces driving us up into the upper right, and there's forces driving us into the lower left. And there's some powerful forces that want us to live in fear with limited information. Even there's a lot of things that resonate with me today, but like the energy that they told us, America, you have no more oil. You can only buy it from us, so you better pay whatever we say and don't squawk about it. They got away with that total lie for 50 years. They built glistening towers through Dubai, UAE, Qatar, all over Saudi Arabia. Hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth were sucked out of this nation and sent to the desert in the Middle East based on a total lie. It turns out we have more oil, natural gas, and coal than anybody on the planet. We have total independence, but not to get too much into the details here, but that's the level of challenge that we're dealing with today. And our founding fathers set that goal: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are noble goals, and as I mentioned, even your DNA and your biology, that's how humans are meant to live. Trust and love each other, support each other, and we can have it. We had it, and we do have it. Laguna Woods is a blessed place. It's easy for us to think, that's not so bad, because actually we are blessed to have what we have here. We do have a lot of love and networking and support, and that's all good, but that's not common right now. So that's kind of a point of view. A couple other introductory thoughts. We'll go through some recent events. 1 year ago, February 23, they kicked off the Truckers Convoy for America up in Adelante, California, outside of Barstow. We were living under, you can't go to work, you can't have entertainment, you can't leave your house unless you get the injections that we say you need to have, and you show us the papers that you got the proper injection into your body, like Catherine mentioned. It's our bodies, for the government to tell us what kind of fluids are going to be injected into us. And when we ask, well, what's in it? They tell, oh, we can't tell you for 50 years. Like, this was total tyranny lockdown, and it wasn't just the United States. When we think about the root cause and who's doing this stuff, this was on a global basis, from New Zealand to Canada. They all got the scripts mailed to them, the teleprompters came up, and they said, if you don't get the shot, you don't love your family and you're an evil person. And they persecuted us verbally and terrorized us mentally so they could try and implement this. That was only 1 year ago. We weren't going to be allowed to sit where we're sitting right now. Laguna Woods drank the Kool-Aid and told us, you can't come in the clubhouses unless you show your papers. That's why Catherine and her girlfriends got together and said, what kind of crap is this? This is our property. You can't tell us we can't come on our own property. But that's a little piece of the problem. This was a global thing that they had planned for years and tried to implement, and we were supposed to be living today with everybody on your cell phone or in your pocket, having your shot card and making sure you complied with the large pharmaceuticals. In fact, did anybody see Woody Harrelson on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
That's going viral all over the world. He spoke about it and outed it, basically. He got attacked by all the networks and corrupt media within minutes, but the truth is coming out. So yeah, it was a very different world. And I think we can take this as a victory, that we really fought back in a lot of places, from France, Germany, Italy, America, and our voices collectively were loud enough to make them drop the mandates. And the curtain is still being pulled back on it. So you may feel like your voice doesn't matter and it won't count, but collectively it does. So we need to keep fighting. There's the beautiful Liberty Matters group there doing a rally outside of Gate 5, I think that was, right? Nice. And then last June, I spoke to the Tea Party about false flag operations. They're used by tyrannical dictators who want more power for them, and they want everybody scared and huddled down in the corner of that other graph, and that's the way they control people. And we looked at multiple, 10 to 12 examples over the last 100 years how false flags were used to create a catalytic event to get what they want. So then, sure enough, only a couple months later, Mr. Zelensky here, the Churchill of the world, the hero, savior of the planet, conducts a false flag operation and tells us that Russia bombed Poland and killed civilians over there. That triggers the NATO pact agreement that everybody has to now bomb Russia as quick as you can because they attacked a NATO country. Luckily, the guy on the bottom left, the Secretary General of NATO, within hours came out and said, we have the radar video. You know what? You guys did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Russia. It was a false flag. You sent missiles from East Ukraine and killed innocent Polish people and tried to tell us Russia did it so we would start World War III. That was worse than 9/11. 9/11 was horrible, but they wanted us to blow up 7 Muslim countries in 5 years. That was tragic. But this guy wanted a nuclear exchange of the 2 strongest superpowers on the planet to go to war against each other so that him and his buddies can continue their billion-dollar lifestyle, having whatever kind of parties they have and telling lies to people. Really insane. And it just went right by the news media screen. No big deal. No, he's still a hero. You know, he should have been arrested within minutes of saying something like that. Not only isn't he arrested, he's still walking around as a free man. Pretty dangerous stuff. We dodged a massive bullet. We could have seen mushroom clouds all over the LA basin because of what this guy said 2 months ago. If there's an evil satanic force on the planet, you know, a lot of people talk about religion and that this is an ultimate battle of good and evil. And nobody's perfect. Good and evil's in every human being as far as, you know, our just personal decisions and what we do and things. But this is some bad stuff that we're dealing with. This was very significant to me too. Just last month, 1 month ago, Project Veritas, James O'Keefe on the right here, his guys got video of a senior executive of Pfizer saying that they have a whole business plan. They're going to keep generating these viruses so that we have to buy their vaccine from them. Every quarter, every 6 months, whatever they decide, they're engineering. He said, you're creating deadly viruses to release on. Well, no, we don't say that. We say we call it directed evolution. But yeah, we have labs experimenting on these viruses to change the strain so that it has different characteristics, and then you have to buy our product from it. It's a tyrannical move. When he got called out, anybody see the video of this guy when he found out he was being recorded? He lost his mind. In fact, I haven't seen him or heard anything from him since. He could be 6 feet under right now for outing something to that level. But not only did our government not arrest that guy and say, who have you been working with to implement this tyrannical global evil plan? They attacked James O'Keefe. They got his board to kick him off of his own company that he founded and are persecuting him just like they did when he found out that Planned Parenthood is selling body parts of fetuses. They sued him and said, you were trespassing. You owe them $5 million or whatever the crazy number was. Is the sound check okay? Is this all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Better than down a little?
Is it too loud?
This was just 2 weeks ago. This was so beautiful. I've probably seen it 50 times. The globalists aren't trying to hide anymore. They have two major tactics, climate change and COVID, saying that those problems are so big that no nation can address them effectively on their own. That's why you need us, a global government, to keep the whole world safe. And they're trying to sell this bullshit and make everybody pay 15% tax. The mafia was only 10%. These guys are trying to get 15% from every nation on the planet for them to keep us safe. Elon Musk calls in and has some great narrative. I won't try to articulate everything he said, but for about 5 minutes, he makes a very compelling argument that you don't want a global government, then you have a single point of failure. If that messes up, the whole world messes up. It's actually good to have independent countries and independent capabilities and resources, which was really nice. And it's like a battle of the billionaires going on. And right now, Elon Musk buying Twitter, outing that our government was censoring Americans on a massive basis with that weapon is all good stuff. And then I put this slide together to understand information warfare. You know, there's so many lies and propaganda being pushed out, but then also to protect the guilty people. They're masters at layered protection, that they have people on the outside. If you see that schematic there, that you have layers and compartmentalization. And they learned from General Levy with the Manhattan Project, that we built a nuclear bomb in this country, and over 130,000 people were employed to get that done, and none of them knew what they were even working on. You know, they showed up at a factory, made a part, put a couple components together, shipped it out the other end, and went home. But only a very few people knew what they were actually doing, and that's how you accomplish something. Like 9/11, 5 dancing Israelis were caught in Liberty Park filming the event while it happened. They got arrested, but they admitted, yeah, well, they gave us cameras, they told us to come over here and just film the event. So they knew a compartmented piece of this mission, but they didn't know the big picture, who was doing what, when did they wire up the explosives, who pulled the trigger, how did the airport get coordinated, how did the DOD and Cheney go down into the room and order this stuff. You know, there were hundreds of components to that mission, but it's compartmentalized and layered so that almost no one but a very few select people know what's actually going down. But that's what we're dealing with. And there's countries and other groups, independent groups, non-state actors that use this model, though, to protect themselves and to not be associated. They have cutouts to separate themselves from who's actually ordering these crimes to happen on us. Okay, so that's a little background. Let's talk about what the problem is we're dealing with. And to me, this sums it up. Right now, the foreign interests are controlling our money, our laws, and our media. Those 3 things are the biggest problem, and that's what the 3-step solution addresses, is our money, our laws, and our media. And this says foreign interests. You can call them globalist, and it's not homogenous. There's different powers. China and the CCP are in the game. Middle East forces are in the game. Bankers and Klaus Schwab in Switzerland is in the game. The World Health Organization, the United Nations organizations, the IPCC, if anybody read that global commission for energy. There's a lot of institutions that have been corrupted by these forces. So we'll talk about it more too. That we actually don't have to go arrest all these people. We need to make ourselves less vulnerable to their attacks. So whether it's like flies around a picnic table, is it cockroaches, ants, mosquitoes, wasps? If you get a net and close off and have a screen and keep them out, it doesn't matter who they are at that point. You've created protection so you're not vulnerable to their penetrations anymore. That's what this solution should look like. And I won't spend too much, but symptoms, like I said, there's symptoms and then there's the root cause. We We got rigged elections today. We got a false pandemic and the lockdowns, the massive illegal immigration. Trump quantified at $30 billion a year being spent to fly people from all over the world, Africa, Asia, Europe, to come across our borders illegally by the millions per year right now. The homeless problem around here, loitering was against the law. If you weren't allowed to hang out on the sidewalk, and if you needed help, there's a church 2 blocks that way, there's another one 3 blocks that way, and you get off the street. But they told cops, no, you can't make a move unless you provide them housing. And the Border Patrol, 20,000 Border Patrol agents, or whatever the number is today, they've been told you're not allowed to put a hand on these people. If they say they're in fear for their life, you get them some coffee, get them a blanket, give them a meal, schedule a flight, find out where they want to go to. They become public servants of these illegal immigrants instead of American people, and the system's been rigged for that intentionally. And then the bottom ones are tragic. The suicide rate in this country and the fentanyl deaths with these poisons being smuggled in here. You can see a couple diagrams on the left there. And it goes on, and it's bad. And other things like our labor. We've accepted when you go to work and put your own personal energy and toil into something, and the government takes 30% of your wages before you even get it. That's against the Fourth Amendment has a law against unreasonable seizure. To me, that's unreasonable seizure. The 13th Amendment that freed the slaves says no slaves or involuntary servitude will exist in the United States. Well, if they take the fruit of your labor before you even get it, that's involuntary servitude to whoever's sucking this money out of us. And to that root level needs to be changed. And then the airports, we're so conditioned. Go get in line over there, stand over there, check your bags, get your ticket. Now go through the radiation machine, because we're going to keep you safe. They amped those things up after 9/11 under the Patriot Act. Michael Chertoff owns a majority controlling position in these machines that are bought millions of dollars at every airport. We don't know what they're radiating us with. The big data capability now, 99% of people can go through maybe with something that doesn't harm them. But if you're on the no-fly list or the don't like this guy list, these guys could turn up the throttle on whatever frequency they want to do whatever they want with no accountability. Sounds horrible. That you could think, oh, nobody would ever do that. But you look at the other things they've done, and they would do that in a second. And you get on an elevator, and you have a safety code and a permit. Somebody from the government even says that we're certifying this as safe to operate. You can get on it with very minimal risk, and confirms it. These radiation machines at the airports, they should at least have something that says these are the frequencies of energy you're being irradiated with. Department of Energy and Department of Science or Standards has certified that these are safe to humans and it's been tested effectively and feel safe. I don't go through them, but there's no sign, there's nothing on it. They just say, get in line, get through the machine. You don't get on your airplane until you walk through our machine. That's and then if you don't walk through it, they try to humiliate you, make you delay you in time. Anyway, there's major problems. Jumping back on the IRS code, 80,000 page tax code. You have to tell 300 million Americans have to report to the central government every dollar that you received in the past year and what you did with it. This stuff's insane, but we've just been like the frog in the beaker. They just turn it up slowly and slowly, and they're going to keep going until they get some boiled frog. Getting spun up a little bit, hopefully.
Good for you, Joey.
So, as I mentioned, climate change and COVID, they're all sellable. They can sound really good. Hey, we got the knowledge to keep you safe from these horrible things that could kill you, and trust us. And to me, it's all a scam. And it's a very dangerous scam, and it's killing people literally by the millions right now. And we don't even know the true consequence of what they've gotten away with to date. There's another point of view. World War I, we knew where the front lines were, and chemical weapons were used, Gatling guns were used, people were chopped into hamburger on the front lines, horrible thing. World War II, bloody mess, 60 million people killed. But right now, we're in a whole new war. It doesn't look like any war of the past, but with biological knowledge and messing with your DNA and your ribosomes and your personal health, there's a big risk when they tell you, we can't tell you the results of the testing for 50 years. That should be a giant red flag that has every American out on the street, because we're all on the front line right now. Our health, our families, our survival is on a front line of a massive war with these globalists. Victoria Nuland's there in the bottom right that Putin exposed that they had 46 bioweapons lab. They did the COVID scam with Wuhan, one weapon lab, and did what they did the last 2 years. Well, these guys had 46 labs over there. They were supposed to get salvo A, B, C, D, E, and F was all supposed to come. There's a good chance that those things being shut down have stopped the next more deadly viruses that make your skin fall off or make you go crazy and eat your neighbors. Who knows what they're experimenting with? So who are these people? Who's doing this crap? I think globalists is the best name, which is people that don't want to obey the city government, don't want to obey the state government, they don't want to be subjected to the federal government. They want to pass laws above any nation and tell everybody what you can and can't do. It's pretty clear, and they've actually been smoked out pretty good. There aren't that many of them, and we kind of know who they are and where they live. They have many instruments to implement that. So I won't go into everything, but they've infiltrated our public schools, our colleges. Every institution has been polluted by these forces, and it's basically for world domination. They want to control the world, and nations are nothing but pawns on a board that they move around and they issue. They gave Biden Ukraine when he was vice president. He went over there 40 times. They're calling now. Who did he meet with and what was he doing over there? You know, the went over there and said, hey, if you don't fire that prosecutor, you don't get $1 billion. That's impeachable offense of corruption. But they don't go after. They go after Trump and say, "Oh no, you made a bad phone call. You're the bad guy." It's really insane. Here's what is constructive to me too: is that they have a three-legged empire. The way that they wrestle power from anyone is to control the money supply. They control our politicians, and they control the media. Propagandizing in the media is a critical step to this. That was the best part of post 9/11 is the internet and alternate media, where people can question what the three big networks were telling us, and we're finding out they were massive lies. And especially all these wars. Jeff sent me something, 50 countries that America invaded and blew up in the last 100 years, to tell us, hey, you got to go blow them up to bring them peace and democracy. Wait, say that again? Yeah, you got to go blow them up to bring them peace and democracy. Wait. You know, it's insane when you think about it, but they got away with it because they said support the troops. If you don't support the troops, you're a bad person. And the ivermectin thing, ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, they banned those at the border. They told doctors, if you prescribe that to Americans, you're going to lose your license. You like making 6 figures a year? Well, you won't have a job if you give any American this therapeutic remedy that's been proven for 20 years to help fight off viruses. That was genocide on the American people.